is my view. I just don't understand why we are taking a bunch of tools in our foreign policy toolbox and tossing them into a dumpster.
And I think we need to start giving African countries more of what they want and less of what they don't. That seems like an obvious proposition, but frequently our Africa strategy doesn't seem to be guided by that principle.
Picking a fight with South Africa, a pretty important nation, and labeling them as committing genocide against African farmers, accepting Afrikaner refugees while we're shutting off other refugees from Africa.
We are in a state of crisis right now when it comes to our relations with the continent and other competitors of ours, from Iranians to Russians to Chinese to people that don't always align with us, from the Emiratis and others, are flooding the zone where we are retreating in a stunning way.
I am totally confused about what Europeans have been told about Africa. I learned on TikTok from speaking to Africans. What is going on? Why don't I know this information? I need to bring my children and educate my children to Africa. Seriously, I'm so annoyed. So much is happening in Africa, and I never knew. I was told Africa, the whole of Africa, which we believed was just like a country. We didn't even know there was like 54 countries in Africa. Like, I take full accountability and responsibility for my own stupidity and my own lack of education. But we were sold Africa here as a charity, as like a famine, everyone was starving. Like, seriously? How does this happen? How? I am going to go through each country, maybe not 54 now, but let's see. And I want the world to start realizing what Africa has to offer. Seriously. You're like the richest continent. You're like the most amazing people. And nobody listens and nobody knows. Well, why? Tell me. I want to know in the comments. Oh, it's so frustrating. What's going on? I don't know. Please tell me in the comments section what is happening. Why is this happened? I don't know. I'm only discovering it. So, can you tell me? Tell me. I don't know who's going to even tell me. Are the Africans going to tell me? Are the Europeans going to tell me? Are the Americans going to I don't know who's even going to tell me. Tell me where you're from in the comments section and give me the information I don't know. I don't even know.
They called us partners. Then they pulled the plug and left us hanging. Now, Washington is panicking because China didn't hesitate to step in. This is the real reason Africa is being fought over like a prize. And what you're about to hear wasn't meant for your ears. For decades, America ran programs across Africa that supported education, health, and entrepreneurship. But under the Trump administration, those were quietly cut. No warnings, no consultations. Programs like PEPFAR, MCC, and YALI gone. Now, U.S. senators are panicking because China is filling the void fast. In this clip, U.S. lawmakers admit the damage, and they're terrified of what happens next.
Mr. Meserve, thank you for your testimony. What I hear from both of you is more engagement, not less. More of what we have done that works, and that the abrupt and chaotic closure of a very wide range of our most effective tools for engaging with Africa, from the MCC to YALI to the PEPFAR program, puts all of this at risk. Mr. Chairman, if I might, given your opening comments in the exchange, I'd love to work with you on clarifying the U.S.-Kenya relationship. Their foreign minister and national security advisor were just here last week meeting with the president and folks at the White House, and I agree with you that some of those statements with the PRC are very concerning given the deep and long relationship and the security relationship we have with regards to al-Shabaab in Somalia.
It's disappointing, to say the least.
You referenced how important it is that there be more students from Africa coming to the United States. Well, I've got a solution for you. It's a 15-year-old program called the Young African Leaders Initiative that has sent 20,000 vetted, promising African students to the United States. The University of Delaware happens to be one of the 20 hosting universities at a very modest cost that is about to be shut down. Not a good idea. It brings promising young African leaders to the United States for a summer to meet with businesses and entrepreneurs, to meet with civil society, to convene in Washington, and then go to 20 different states all over the country. One of many things I don't think we should shut down. To the point you just made, Ambassador Gavin, the Millennium Challenge Corporation, MCC, launched under President Bush, explicitly used corruption and combating corruption, reducing corruption as one of the key indicators for whether or not a country would get a long-term development partnership with the United States. It is all but closed. Most of its staff have been laid off. Many of its compacts have been shut down. PEPFAR, Mr. Meservey, is all but closed. It has been trimmed dramatically from its scope. A 25-year-old program, long deserving of bipartisan support. I'd just be interested in both of you briefly saying, what does it do to our reputation on a continent of 54 countries, a continent with enormous human potential and natural resources, a country that China and Russia see as the continent of the 21st century? What's it do to our place in East Africa and across the continent if we abruptly shut down these long-standing, demonstrated, and effective programs? Madam Ambassador, and then Mr. Meservey.
Thank you, Senator. It is incredibly self-defeating, is my view. I just don't understand why we are taking a bunch of tools in our foreign policy toolbox and tossing them into a dumpster.
I think the term was a wood chipper.
Okay, I suppose so.
It's tougher to reassemble things that have been put through a wood chipper than things that have gone through a reasoned, considerable review, which is the process that
reforms
we should have gone through, is to have this body, Congress, work with the new administration to say, okay, trim this, reform this, change this, shutter this, expand this. Yeah. That's not what happened.
No, it's not. And not only have we lit our credibility on fire, and you see particularly China making hay of this, the favorite phrase now is reliable partner. China's a reliable partner. They're not going to abruptly pull the rug out from under you. And I think that, some of the kind of knock-on effects, consider the tens of thousands of health workers in Kenya who are out of work now. These are educated, engaged citizens, and the messaging we want to do about this long relationship with Kenya, it's at odds with their lived experience now. And
I'm about out of time. I've got less than a minute.
Sorry.
Mr. Meservey, if I might. I do agree that a bright spot is the hard work done under the previous administration by Avril Haines in DRC, Rwanda, and it's continuing under Special Advisor Boulos. There's a real chance of peace there. I can't think of a more concentrated example of the PRC-U.S. competition than the two adjacent bases in Djibouti. I've just introduced with Senator Ricketts a bill to try and prioritize focusing on denying the PRC more basing opportunities on the continent.
Will Africa continue to suffer from the hands of the Westerner? Will Africa continue to submit to the Westerner? Let Africa youth rise and take the Africa from the West. America and Europe, they're just crying. Look at the whole Europe, protests everywhere because Africa is rising, the Europe is going down. If Africa rise more, the Europe will completely finish. And they're supposed to finish because they are so wicked and mean to the Africans. Our leaders, now they sell the Africa out to the Europeans. Then, we the African youth we keep quiet. We all are still sleeping. When they sleep, they watch the ancestors. They destroy the generation that is coming because of their own selfish interests. All these ancestors, wicked ancestors, call themselves presidents or whatever they call themselves. We leave them. We allow them to destroy Africa up to this extent. Okay, you can look at Uganda, Museveni. For how long? If all these people are not wicked and greedy, why will you rule for over 40 years and you still want to rule more? That is selfish and greediness. Over wicked. Don't be saying they rule the country. Say the country they benefit from their own God-given wealth. No. You they make the people poor upon poor to the extent the whites, the Westerner, they laugh at us. Even the Africa, we not live in Europe peacefully. After they destroyed our place, they make us restless in our own continent. And most of us flew to the European country. Still, that place is the worst. They make us so frustrated. That is how wicked the European can be. They have been taking the resources for over centuries, for more than 100 decades. Still, they are not satisfied. They want to kill themselves because of African resources, because of the God-given resources from Africa. Always take it by force. Everything that the Europe have, all their money, all their resources was grown by blood, the blood of the Africans. Still, these people do not respect Africans. Still, they maltreat Africans like slaves. They maltreat Africans. They see Africans dent. How long will this continue? How long will African continent continue to suffer? For how long? I thank God for this moment. Go to this comment section and tell me what you think. Thank you for your watching.